Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. I am again from the English Voice Online speaking to you now. From today onwards, I am going to give you this series in the English version as well. Until this moment, you are watching this series in the regional language. So from today onwards, you can watch it in the English version as well. All the coming phrases will be in the English language. I will explain everything. That means that there are 5 phrases in this episode. I will explain its meaning, its definition. And in addition to that, there would be 2 example sentences for each phrase. Okay, let's come into the class. The first phrase is on account of. On account of. Have you ever heard about this phrase? I think you might have heard about this. It means that due to something. There is a reason for something. Because of that. It means due to something or because of that, etc. are the meaning of this phrase. But there is a meaning of this phrase. That means on account of, it means on account of means due to something or because of that. These are the meanings of this phrase. It also means you are going to postpone something. If you want to call off something or if you want to postpone something, you can take a decision to call off it, to postpone it. Or otherwise, you are going to call off something. You decide to discontinue that program or you decide to call off that program. These are the meaning of this phrase. For example, 2 example sentences are given here. The government declared holiday for students on account of heavy rain. The government declared holiday for students on account of heavy rain. But due to heavy rain, government declared holidays for students. That is the meaning of this sentence. The next sentence. They postponed the tour on account of the weather change. The weather has been changed. So they decided to postpone the tour. They have already decided. They decided to postpone the tour on account of the weather change. Okay, I hope you understood the meaning of these 2 sentences. If you know something about this, you can just imitate these sentences and you can also create your own sentences. Okay, let's go to the next phrase. Yes, we are coming to the next phrase. The second phrase. On a priority basis. On a priority basis. What does it mean? What do you mean by that? This is a correct and usable phrase in English language. It is used in written English as well as in spoken English. Not only this, all the phrases in this episode can be used in written English as well as in spoken English. That is sure. That is for sure. This phrase is used to describe an activity. This phrase is used to describe an activity. Okay, it means something needs to be done quickly. If we want to do something, it should be done quickly or urgently. So a priority should be given to that matter. It means something needs to be done quickly. Something is there, an activity is to be completed. If so, it should be given a priority. That's a priority case. That is to be considered on a priority basis. As it is more important, that problem may be more important. It should be considered very urgently because it is that important. It's an important matter that we have to consider. But that's why we should give it a priority. That's why we should give it a priority. So that we can say that problem should be considered on a priority basis. So that we can say that that problem should be considered on a priority basis. Okay, we can go through some examples. That means we can see two example sentences here. The first example sentence is the government has to consider the weather problem on a priority basis. The government has to consider the weather problem on a priority basis. The weather is changing, so government has to take a decision urgently. That's the meaning of this sentence. The next sentence is unemployment in our country should be solved on a priority basis. If unemployment is there in our country, it should be given a priority. That means it should be treated very urgently. That's the meaning of this sentence. If you really understand these two phrases, two sentences, you can also create or imitate it on your own. That means you can create some sentences on your own. Okay, I hope you understood this phrase very well. If so, let's go to the next phrase. Come on with me. Okay, the next phrase, and this is the third phrase in this episode. On behalf of. On behalf of. What do you mean by this phrase? It means that it is in the interest of someone. If someone wants to do something, we are taking care of that matter. And in that situation, we can say it is in the interest of someone. We are doing it in the interest of someone. Or otherwise, it may be in the interest of a group. Sometimes a group can come to us and want to do something for them. In such case, it may be in the interest of a group. Or otherwise, it can also mean being a representative of someone. We are going to be a representative of someone. In all situations, we are doing that job on behalf of them. We are doing that job on behalf of them. Okay, we can come to some examples. I will explain the examples in a detailed manner. Okay, we are going through two examples. The first example, the parents received the award on behalf of their child. The parents received the award on behalf of their child. Their child could not go and attend the meeting, or otherwise he could not receive the award. So at that time, the parents received the award on behalf of their child. The next example, the collector inaugurated the function on behalf of the minister. Minister could not come to attend the meeting on time. So at that time, the collector inaugurated the function on behalf of the minister. These are the two examples that you can imitate, and you can create your own sentences. Okay, let me hope you are all clear about this phrase. Okay, let's get into the next phrase. Yes, we are coming to the fourth phrase in this episode. This is the fourth phrase in this episode. On a war footing. On a war footing. This is a phrase that we are going through now. Have you ever heard of this phrase before? This is a common phrase that is generally used in written English as well as in spoken English. This is a common phrase that is generally used in written English as well as in spoken English. What does it mean? To be ready to fight a war. If there is a war, we should be ready to fight it. We should be ready to fight it. Or otherwise, prepare to do something in an emergency. If an emergency situation, that means there is something very something very bad which is going in our country, we should be ready to fight against it. So prepare ourselves to do something. In an emergency. Or otherwise, suppose our country faces a national calamity. Just imagine that if there is a national calamity in our country. What is national calamity? So many things may be happened in our country. But COVID is a national calamity. It's not our creativity. It's a national calamity. So on that situation, we have to take necessary steps to fight against it. Or otherwise, we go through some dark times. Suppose if we go through the dark times, we will have to fight against it. We will have to solve it. So we should do everything on a war footing. So we will have to face it all on a war footing. Okay, we can go through the following examples. There are two example sentences here. The first example sentence is, India was on a war footing during the time of COVID-19. India fought against the COVID. It was an emergency. It was an emergency period. So that we fought against the national calamity COVID-19. So we can say India was on a war footing during the time of COVID-19. Another example, we fought against the terrorists on a war footing. We can see, if we go through the newspaper, we can see the news that the terrorists attacked so and so places. So on that situation, the government has to take necessary steps to fight against it. So we can say we fought against the terrorists on a war footing. This phrase ends here. So I hope you understood this phrase very well. Then let's go through the next phrase. Okay, we are going through the last phrase in this episode. This is the fifth and the last phrase in this episode. On the contrary. It means it is quite the opposite of something that you have just told somebody. It means it is quite the opposite of something that you have just told somebody. Or otherwise, it will be the opposite of what has just been said. On the other hand, in contrast, quite the opposite, etc. are its meanings. On the other hand, in contrast, quite the opposite, etc. are its meanings. This phrase is used to intensify the denial of something. If you want to deny something, we can use this phrase. This phrase is used to intensify the denial of something. It means the opposite would be the real truth. When we say something, the opposite would be the real truth. So here you can use on the contrary the phrase. On such situations, we can use on the contrary the phrase. Okay, we can go through some other examples. The first example sentence is, they are very rich but on the contrary, their behavior is bad. They are very rich, but on the contrary, their behavior is bad. The next example sentence. She sang the song beautifully. On the contrary, her sound was not good. She sang the song beautifully. On the contrary, her sound was not good. So these are the two example sentences that you could understand. Okay, now this episode is coming to an end with these sentences. I hope you have understood everything clearly. So, if you liked my video, please subscribe to my channel, share it, like it, and click the bell button too, so that you will get every notification of my forthcoming videos for you. Thank you well in advance for watching my video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye.